Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our fifth installment of Kiryat Ibrit, where I and Dr. Josh Bowen from Digital Hammurabi read Hebrew texts. Unfortunately, you will notice that it's just me here this evening. I'm sad to report that Dr. Josh had a family emergency at the last minute, and he is unable to join us tonight. But the show must go on. So I did, at the last minute, manage to enlist some help because I prefer doing this with a wingman. So I'm just going to bring in my friend and my special guest, Tomer. Welcome
Hello.
to Kiryat Ibrit.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Awesome. So I met Tomer over at Aaron Raw's channel, where he is a regular value contributor at his Blasphemers Bible project,
Mhm. Yeah.
and Tomer is joining us tonight from Aretz Yisrael.
Yes. It's 3 a.m. Fortunately, I was at a
Just
wedding,
what?
so yeah. No biggie.
You were up,
Yeah, I
so
was
why
up.
not?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I probably have a handful of viewers who aren't familiar with you. If you want to maybe just introduce yourself
Yeah.
and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my main interest is not really in biblical studies. It's in mathematics. I have a bachelor of science in mathematics, and I'm pursuing at the moment a master's. I'm about to start my semester in applied mathematics. But while I was not doing mathematics, I was more keen on biblical studies, thanks to Aaron Ra's Blasphemers Bible, which I'm a regular panelist on. I usually contribute with commentary that I collect from traditional commentaries, early translations, and modern commentaries. At this point, we are doing Deuteronomy. I think we'll start on Saturday. We'll do Deuteronomy 17, which is about
Oh, nice.
yeah, it's about the king's commandment, or the commandment of the king. At least the second section. The first is about I actually forgot. Oh, a prophet, I believe. No,
Deuteronomy 17, yeah, or
yeah, I
18.
think
Yeah,
17
it's
and
about
18 we're supposed to do.
yeah. So that's all about the ideal prophet,
Yeah.
and then and that follows up with the rules for the king. Interestingly enough, there's some. You guys are doing that on Saturday, right?
Yes. At the moment, we're doing this twice a week. On at least in mine, it's like 1 a.m. on Wednesday and 7 on Saturday because Americans.
Right.
So, but yeah, yeah. At the moment, because I haven't started my studies yet. We're doing it twice a week, and once I'll start it, we'll do it like maybe once a week. I'm still not sure about it.
Nice. I might pop in on Saturday, depending on what I've got going on. But there's some really interesting things happening with in particular with the instructions for the king in the book of
Yeah.
Deuteronomy, but what the temple scroll from Qumran
Yes, exactly.
does with a lot of that stuff
Yeah,
is
yeah, I know. I
is very cool,
yeah, I've
right?
quoted some of it. Like it has its own distinct rules for the king.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's all about it's all about ensuring that that the priests in particular, the Levitical priesthood, doesn't lose control over
Yeah.
what's going on. So
Yeah.
cool. Well, I think we'll just jump right into this.
Sure.
I'll just remind everybody of how this works. Tomer and I are gonna go back and forth, taking turns reading from the text, we're going to start in chapter 1, verse 22. We will read the text in Hebrew. I will post it on the screen here. Actually, why don't I just grab that now? Okay, so can everybody see that? Yep, that looks good. So I hope it's clear enough. Does the font need to be bigger? People in the chat can let me know if they think the font needs to be bigger. Does that look okay to you, Tomer?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. Maybe I'll just bring it up a little bit. There we
I'm
go.
already equipped with my own two sources. I'm using the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia, which is a critical edition of the Leningrad Codex. They are working on the Biblia Hebraica Quinta, which I have a version of it for Deuteronomy, but it's probably
Yeah,
going to be released in 2032. The
right.
release
There's
dates
a
are
handful of folios that are
yeah.
out, but yeah, it's a
It takes time.
major project. So
Yeah,
cool. So
yeah, and
we'll no go ahead.
And I also, yeah, no, no I just want to mention that my second source, which is Mikraot Gedolot HaKeter, which is an
Yeah.
edition of the Aleppo Codex with traditional commentators, such as Rashi,
Oh
Joseph
wow.
Kara, David Kimchi, etc. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Wow, that's very cool. Well, this will be
Yes.
fun. So we will take turns reading the text in Hebrew, and then we will provide some comments on it. Most of my notes have to do with matters of syntax and grammar, which is super fun. And then please in the chat, if you have any questions, please post those in the chat. I will do my best to try and keep track of those as well. And yeah, I think let's go. So
Cool.
I will I think I'll start us off this evening, and you can see how it's done. All right, starting in verse 22. Vehene odena medaberet im hamelech v'natan hanavi bo. But then,
Is it
so if people,
um
sorry,
it is it Bo? Is it, isn't that wait? I think it's Ba, right? Bo is
I
like
when I so when I learned to speak, and you're probably right about this, but I learned when I learned Hebrew, I was told when it comes to pronouncing um, the ultimate syllable on a Hebrew word with a comet's hatuf on it,
Mhm.
that this was a long a sound. So as opposed to ba, more like ba or bo. I've overemphasized that a little bit.
Mhm.
But yeah,
I
I think
It seems to me
no
like
go
it's pronounced ba because the at least in the Sefaria it's not an elongated kamatz. Usually
true.
I identified like the when you say bo, it is more elongated than the regular ba.
Right.
And
Right.
I think in modern Hebrew you don't really differentiate between these two.
I would
The kamatz is
imagine
basically an a sound.
I would
And you don't even
imagine not.
differentiate. Yeah, you don't even differentiate between the patach as well. I mean, they are the
Right.
exact same thing.
Oh, for sure.
At
Like
least
when I
for
mean
Hebrew,
it's
modern Hebrew.
this is modern languages too, right? Like
Yeah.
I think in English, where we have traditionally long a sounds and short a sounds, very often we just sloppily um pronounce them all the same. But
Hmm.
yeah. All right. So my translation here. But then, while she was still speaking with the king, Nathan the prophet came in. So I have a couple of notes here on some of the features of the grammar. The participle midaberet is a PL, feminine. We recognize this by the presence of the prefix to mem appears at the head of a number of the participial forms that are non-cal, such as the hifil and the peel in particular, and also the doubling of the middle radical, the bet in this case becomes a hard B sound as opposed to the soft B sound. So according to Joan, he says of the participle here that there's a temporal change with identical expression in verse 14. So the point here is that the whole clause, the odena medaberet, is expressing simultaneity. He says that the first action is durative, whilst the second is instantaneous. So while she was speaking at that moment, Nathan the prophet entered the room. Also, I wanted to just point out once again here the definite article on Hanavi, the prophet, is commonly how compound nominal forms of speech are made in Hebrew, where the definiteness is determined by the noun in apposition or in construct or the adjective. Got anything else, Tomer? Or
Yeah, there is an interesting vehine. So I have two things to say. I think I have two things to say. So, first of all, the Biblia Hipparchus Tutkantensias states that the vehine here is omitted from the Peshitta and the Vulgate, which is interesting, well enough. And I would translate hine as "and here," whilst she's still speaking, like "here, behold," well, something like that. It's like quite interesting to render it, and I would like I think a modern like Hebrew reader would like maybe replace it with the bisman or the bisman, like while she was still speaking. But this like formal like behold, I know Lawrence really
Yeah.
likes really enjoys the behold.
Does he like that?
Yeah, and
I
all
try
the
to
time.
I try and use it very sparingly because the word is so ubiquitous, right? Like, yeah. So I wanted to just point out Alda wanted to mention that Masoretic text has speaking with the king, Septuagint has speaking beyond the king, while the Targum Jonathan has speaking in front of the king. So there's some flexibility there with the preposition "im" here.
Yeah, I should also note Joseph Kara's comment, who says, "From yourself, I think me'atzmecha, from yourself, you learn that once Nathan entered to spoke with the king, Bathsheba went out for several reasons. One, because yeah, I mean, one, because it's not a respectful way that a man enters to the room of the king to speak to him, as if a friend stands and hears what his other friend asks, and and moreover, if she was standing there whilst Nathan the prophet entered to finish her words, lemalot et dvareh, I think medieval Hebrew is kind of difficult. The king would have understood that Nathan the prophet has put the words in her mouth, and both were noatsu badavar. Both were contrasted. I don't really know how to translate something with the thing. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I like that how they they reach to conclusions based on him coming to the king.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is something too. We'll notice this as the text continues here. The assumption is that she does leave the room.
Yes.
Um, so, but it's not stated, at
Yeah.
least not outright in this passage.
Hmm.
So cool. You got anything else? Are you ready to move on?
Yeah. I think I'm ready to move on.
All right, verse 23.
I'm reading it, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. ויגידו למלך לאמור, הנה נתן הנביא, ויבוא לפני המלך, וישתחו למלך על אפיו ארצה. Mm. So one thing that really got me is al apav. They
Yeah.
lay down to the king on his nose or upon his nose. If you read it literally, yeah,
If if you read it literally, do you want to give us the translation for the whole verse first?
yeah, sure. So the JPS reads it, and I'll try first. I'll try to translate it myself. And they
Okay.
said to the king, saying, "Behold, the Hina here again, Nathan
Yeah.
the prophet. Behold, Nathan the prophet, and he came in before the king, and they bowed down to the king on uh, on his nose to the ground. Alpanav, sorry, al apav is like
Got it. Yeah.
alpanav, which means with his face. Yeah, with his
Hmm.
face, something like this. But al apav is an interesting switch there instead of panav.
It occurs. So this is something that comes up. It's pretty rare, but it's occasional within the biblical text as an idiom of where I see it in the lexicon. They say basically putting your face on the floor. It's like an expression of extreme obeisance, right?
Hmm.
But it's such a wild word picture. I do. I love it.
Hmm. Yeah, that's uh, and also the word vaishtachu. In modern Hebrew, you would say vaishtachavu. So
Mm.
ishtachavu. Um,
Ishtachavu.
yeah, it's missing. I
Okay.
think it's missing the patach, or like maybe it's like an earlier form of ishtachu.
I expect so. Yeah. So this is a yeah. This is w- when we learned Hebrew, we learned to call these hishtafels, uh,
Huh.
which happens when you've got a hit pale formed with a word that begins with a sheen or a scene, and for reasons of pronunciation, for the ease of pronunciation, there's a metathesis that takes place where the two letters are reversed. It's easier to say vayish vayishtachu tachu as opposed to vayitshahu.
Hmm.
It's a more natural way of saying it, right?
Hmm.
So, and something I'm we mentioned this in earlier streams too. Like this is the same word that is used throughout the Hebrew Bible for worship. When you worship
Yes.
God, when you worship Yahweh, this is the word to use. Conceptually speaking, from an ancient Near Eastern mindset, there's not really any difference between the kind of between worshiping a god and worshiping a king. It's not
Hmm.
like it's not this Christian idea of of uh of making a distinction where you only worship God or you only this is just an extreme form of respect and
Yeah.
obeisance.
I should also note that the word le'emor, saying, is missing from two manuscripts of the Septuagint, which I think
Mm,
makes sense. I mean, it's a bit redundant. Uh, you can't just
yep.
say, and they said to the king, "Behold, Nathan the prophet came." or something like
Yeah.
that. Here's Nathan the prophet. So yeah, I think it makes sense if they omitted it.
Yeah, no, it's a sensible omission. All right, just making sure I'm at the right spot here. Okay. Anything else, or are we
No.
good to move on? Just gotta. Sorry, guys, if I'm not keeping up with the chat here. I'm gonna try and do my best, but yeah, this could be a challenge. All right. Let's see. Do I have anything else here? Nope. I'm good. So moving on to verse 24. Vayomer Natan, Adoni Hamelech, Ata Amarta, Adoniyahu Yimloch Acheri, Vehu Yeshev al Kisi. Then Nathan said, My lord, the king. Whoa. What's up?
You said achari. It's acharai, right? It's
Sorry about
commands?
that. Yeah. Correct. So it's nice that you've got me here to Josh doesn't correct my pronunciation. He's just way too polite for that, right? So all right. So then Nathan said, My lord the king, surely you said Adonijah will be king after me. He is the one who will sit on my throne. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can render this expression. I chose to do so maybe a little bit more literally, in terms of posing it as a a rhetorical statement, or even in the form of an expression of exasperation. Surely this is something you said, implying that this is something that's happening. It can be quite often in English, this is translated as a question. Did you say that? Did you yourself say that Adonijah would be king after me? For and that he will sit on my throne.
So
the
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, the traditional commentators, I mean, that's literally all of them. Also, like, say that this is like in the interrogative, literally Gersonides says he wanted to say, "Did you say?" Like,
yes, yes. It's important to point out though that there's no indicators. There's no indicators within the text that a question is in view here, which is where I think some of the flexibility can come into play. So Jean says of Ata Amarta, and he says that that this can indicate that a question is being asked. So the usage of the independent personal pronoun here, Ata, along with the second person verb, Amarta. So he says a question can be genuine or merely rhetorical, in which latter case no reply is called for. It can become partially or even totally exclamatory, which is the way that I chose to translate it here. And again, the two independent pronouns here, ta used with the verb, and then later Vuhu used with yeshev, are these appear in the text usually for emphasis. In the first place, Nathan is drawing attention directly to David. This is what you said. And then in the second sentence, that he, that is Adonijah, would sit on my throne. So, anything else?
No, not on my part.
All right, we're just flying through this tonight. Cool.
That's what you
Let's
get when
do
you
verse
have
25.
when you don't have two scholars. That's what you get.
So the native speaker, the native Hebrew speaker on the stream gets this long verse in verse 25 here.
Yeah. Okay. כי ירד היום ויזבח שור ומרי וצאן לרוב ויקרא לכל בני המלך ולשרי הצבא ולאביתר הכהן והינם אוכלים ושותים לפניו ויאמרו יחי המלך אדוניהו. Okay, so how I would translate it because since the day has gone down. Yarad hayom, literally the day gone down, but it's at dawn or something. Not dawn. I think dawn. And he has slaughtered. Sacrificed an ox, a fatling. Meri is an interesting word there, and herd. I think tzon. There is a distinction between tzon herd. I think tzon is herd and bakar is cattle or flock. I don't know exactly.
In this case, it's usually like a herd of sheep.
Yeah, exactly. Herd of sheep. Yeah, larov, to the masses, I believe, to the many. Vaikra, and he called to all the sons of the king and to the chieftains of the army and to Eviatar the priest, and they are eating and drinking before him, and they said, "Long live the king Adoniyahu." So,
nice.
One thing that is interesting to note, at least according to BHS, that the Lucianic recension of the Septuagint, I think it gives the Greek reading. I think it reads to the chieftain Yoav, perhaps. Kai ton.
Oh, so it adds the name there.
Yeah, it changes instead of like to the army chieftains, it changes to the chieftain Yoav, I think.
That's in the Septuagint, you said?
The Lucianic recension of the Septuagint.
Oh, and the Lucianic recension. Yeah. Okay.
That's
cool.
I know. Right. I remember that I was trying to find like this recension specifically for some commentary numbers. I couldn't find it anywhere. It's just in the BHS, so I have to trust them.
It might. I probably I've got. I can't reach my copy of the Septuagint right now. I just have a Rolf's, but it's the apparatus in there is pretty. It's pretty meager. There's not there's not a lot to it. So, all right. What do I have? Do you have anything else?
I have a comment by Rashi, who says,
"Oh
yeah, for the day gone down, or he has gone down today. Oh, Yarad Hayom.
Yeah,
he went down. Oh, I misread that. The dawn.
You picked up the
down.
subject.
The day went
Hayom,
down.
right?
Yarad Hayom. Yes.
Yeah.
Hayom. Yarad Hayom. Yeah.
You have me second guessing that for a second.
Yeah,
as you were reading it.
It is a bit confusing. Yarad Hayom, because he who you would normally say because ki hu Yarad Hayom and not ki Yarad Hayom. It's a bit odd.
Right.
But he says about Yarad Hayom that the city was situated on higher ground, and the Even HaZochelet was below in a valley. Now, what is Even HaZochelet? Perhaps it's something.
That is the location where Adonijah has chosen for his coronation celebration.
Okay.
We read about that back in. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, but and I'm not sure. I haven't done the legwork on that because I've been mostly just focused on the language in the text, but I haven't done the legwork to see if we know where that place is. But yeah, quite often this is something that you see quite often within the text is any movement away from Jerusalem is always going down. And it makes some sense too, with the geographical situation of the city there, the old city in particular, which is basically on the escarpment of the hill, right? So yeah, and then I think I wanted to just point out the Vitzon la Rove. The larov there is an expression of excess, like a herd of sheep that was very numerous, in excess, massive, very many sheep. So, I've got something else here too. So, with regards to the key at the very beginning of the verse, Juan says, in some cases, what follows key is not a logical cause of an event or a circumstance, but evidence of or an argument for the preceding assertion. So you translated this as, I think, because I translated it as since. So here
I said
Nathan is
both
basically
options.
Yeah. So I hear Nathan is basically presenting the evidence for the statement that that preceded a rhetorical question to David about Adonijah's status. I got to move the text here. All right, and then I shall continue reading. I think.
Yeah, sure.
That's it. Oh, yeah. Oh, one other thing here. I should draw attention before we go away. The Cal Joseph here, Yehi, Vayomru Yehi. So this is a proper Joseph form of a Cal verb. Most often, these are determined mostly by context. They don't always take the actual Joseph form. Josephs are shortened. So in this case, this is a third guttural verb from chaya. The normal third masculine singular imperfect form of this is yehya, but here it's been shortened just to yehi. Of course, the hey drops off from the end, and all the vowels then shift backwards in order to accommodate the pronunciation. So what Keogh and O'Connor say of this particular expression, Yehi Hamelech, which literally is just the king lives. You said "long live the king" is the common way of translating this. This is just a standard benediction. All right. Moving on to verse 26, right?
Yes, 26.
All right. Okay. Veli ani avdecha ultzadok hakohen velivnayahu ben Yehoyada velishlomo avdecha lo kara. And I've translated this quite literally here. He says, but me, just me, your slave, and Zadok the priest, Beniyahu, son of Jehoiada, and Solomon, your slave or your servant, he did not invite. So here Nathan is telling the king that that all these important figures have been left out of Adonijah's coronation ceremony. So here we actually, you probably picked up on this too. I just want to point out here the repeated usage of the preposition lamed. Lamed almost always indicates the indefinite. Sorry, not the indefinite. The indirect object in a sentence. The preposition will take some other will have some other usages, but very very frequently this is what happens. This is what's taking place here in this verse. You probably had a note on this too, but the Septuagint, strangely, I think, has used the word auton for ani. So instead of the first person singular um, pronoun, where Nathan says, "I, your servant," the Septuagint has used the third masculine singular pronoun. I didn't bother to look up and see
Well,
how Nets
it,
has
it,
translated that. Do you have something on that?
no, actually, for some reason the BHS doesn't state that. Maybe it missed
Interesting.
it.
Well, they don't pick up everything, right?
Yeah, they
Because
don't.
then you end up with like a
What?
page full
Yeah.
of photos. There is actually, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but there is a I believe it's the university, the Hebrew University Bible Project
I think I've heard
is
of it.
precisely that. It is a critical edition of the Hebrew Bible with just an enormous collection of manuscript data in the footnotes. Of course, every single book of the Bible are these giant volumes,
Mm.
because there's so much data.
It's
They
interesting.
could,
I mean, right now there's only the Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel books, at least
yeah,
some aware. But I should
yeah,
look
and
that up. It's interesting.
it's been years actually too since they've published anything new. I'm not entirely sure what the status on that is right now, but
Huh.
it's yeah, it's been a while. So I got one more thing here too. So yes, Walt Keel and O'Connor and Joan all draw attention to this expression right at the beginning of the verse. Veli ani. Walt Keel and O'Connor say that when an independent pronoun stands in apposition to a suffix pronoun, it serves an emphatic role, as
Mhm.
independent pronouns very often do.
Mm.
So, you got anything else?
No.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Verse
So
27. It's on the
yes,
screen, right?
27.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
אם מאת אדוני המלך נהיה הדבר הזה, ולא הודעת את עבדיך, מי ישב על כיסא אדוני המלך אחריו? So one thing to note here is that, interestingly, the Leningrad Codex. No, I think it does. The both codexes have the kere as both. They have kere and ketiv here.
Mm-hmm.
The the ketiv is avadeich. Is it avadecha? Yeah, with the yud. Avadecha with the yud. I believe that's the ketiv, and the kere is avadecha without the yud. So that's the close brackets is the kere,
Yes.
and the open brackets are the ketiv. I have no idea why this was necessary.
So I wonder if it has again, this is an instance where let me just double check here. Yeah, so the Septuagint has actually translated this todalo su. So this is they've translated according to the Kere. So I wonder if there is some recognition there of another, like an older, if this is a nod back to the I guess the more original, more preferred manuscript tradition that's maintained by the Septuagint that the rabbis also recognized. I don't know.
David Kimchi has a very creative way of saying it, and it is written Avadecha in Yod, meaning to me and to your other loyal servants.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, maybe the Avadecha has as like a more I wouldn't say diminishing, or perhaps because in previous in what verse 26 it uses Avadecha without the yud, and maybe
Mhm.
Avadecha is like more of a superior like stand. I have no idea.
Well, I think this is in this case, it's just distinguishing between the plural and the singular. Your servant, as opposed to your servants or your
Mm.
slaves.
Yeah,
But
I could see
I
it.
think it's
Yes,
probably just that simple.
yes. I mean,
That's my.
yeah, I think you're right. Avadecha of your servants.
Hmm.
Yes, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, it seems more likely. I
So,
mean,
because that,
so I do understand Kimchi's
yeah,
comment on this. Yeah,
yeah,
as you say. Yeah,
okay,
sure.
cool. Do you have anything else? Oh, did we translate it? I don't know if we
Oh, I
did.
don't think we did. Okay, I'll translate it. So
Sorry,
im if
people.
if from my servant, no, my lord,
My
the
lord,
king,
yeah.
this nihya, like nihya davar hazeh, I would translate this thing occurred, and you did not inform your servants, who will sit on the throne of the Lord my God after him. My king after him. The Lord, I always like the Lord my God. I'm
Of
used to it.
course, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Lord, the king, the Lord, the king, or Lord the king, more literally.
yeah, yes.
Yeah, but if you would translate Nihiyah Hadavar Hazeh, literally, you would say it Nihia, like it happened. I think it became
Yeah,
this thing, the thing this.
this thing
It's a
happened.
bit like
Yeah,
yeah, it's a bit awkward in Hebrew, but it like if you say it like literally, but in Hebrew it makes sense. I would say at least
of course.
Nihiyah hadavar hazeh, this thing occurred. This is this like almost opposite in reading translating it to
Right,
English.
right. Cool.
Mm. Yeah,
So,
that's my only comment on
um,
this.
okay, I've got a couple things here. So on Ime Eta Doni Hamelech, um, this is the Juan notes that this is an interrogative, uh, uh, with the meaning of basically, is this done? He says in a direct question, we also find, though rarely, im, which is derived from the form of the indirect question. So the object begins the sentence again here for emphasis.
Hmm.
Um, Part of me wonders if there may be, a passive aggressive intent here to embarrass the king into action, or to force his hand by pointing out this major blunder,
Hmm.
the what's happening under his nose here. So I'm going to draw attention at this point here to the setuma, which is the summit that's in the curly brackets there. So these there's two paragraph markers, two paragraph notations that appear in and I think it's in the Leningrad Codex, in the Masoretic tradition. I'm not sure. I assume, well, yeah, I assume they appear in
It is
Aleppo
in
too.
the Aleppo as well. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So this is a Masoretic feature. The Setuma is what's called a closed paragraph, and Petucha, which is just a letter Pe. I assume
Hmm.
in our Sephardia text, it's also enclosed in the curly brackets. This is an open paragraph, and the description is literally on the basis of how they appear in the manuscript. When you see these in non-Masoretic manuscripts, and we do have examples of this in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and this is something I will draw some attention here to in a moment. When you see them in non-Masoretic manuscripts, they literally look like breaks within a line where there will be text and then a break of like a full um, a full word, the size of like a full word, and then a continuation to the end of the column on the same line. So that's usually understood to be a setuma. It's closed, so the break happens in the line, and there's text on either side of it. The patucha, the open paragraph, looks like normal paragraphs that appear in English, where it comes to the end of the line, and then the rest of the line is left open, and the new paragraph begins on the following line. So at this point, I think I'm going to just switch our view here. I'm going to bring up this manuscript that I have on the screen behind me. This is, excuse me, this is 5Q2. So that's from Cave 5 at Qumran, and it's the numbered, the catalog number 2 manuscript. There it is. There's a couple of other small fragments from it, but this is the most substantial one. And you'll notice here the text is from 1 Kings chapter 1. The stuff that is preserved at the top is verse 27, just before the end, and on line 2 that's verse 28 already. Notice the very large, open, empty sheet to the right. That's because this is the very beginning of the manuscript of the scroll. So there was probably like a handle sheet or something connected to the end here. And yeah, so when reconstructing, even though we don't have the ends of the lines here, we just have the beginning. But when reconstructing the text, we can tell quite often where paragraph markers occurred, if they occurred at all. Not all of the Patucha and Sutuma are preserved in the Dead Sea Scrolls. In fact, there's quite a bit of variation among the manuscripts in terms of how the texts are blocked, understandably. But this is a manuscript where even though this is all we've got left of it, there are a few places where we've been able to detect the location of some of these section breaks. In this case, between verse 27 and 28, it seems unlikely that the Sutuma would have appeared here, that there would have been no section break at all between verse 27 and verse 28. So yeah, so that's fun. Just looking at the time here, we got about 10 minutes left. I think we could probably read a couple more verses. I'm just gonna switch screens here again. Bring the text back up. If I do this enough, I'm gonna get good at it. I promise, guys. This is all new for me. So, all right. So we just read 27. Mm-hmm. Verse 28. So this is beginning basically a new section, a new paragraph, as indicated by the Setuma. All right. Vaya'an Hamelech David, Vayomer Kir'u li Labat Sheva, Vatavo Lifnei Hamelech, Vata'amod Lifnei Hamelech. So the King David answered, and he said, "Call Bathsheba to me." And she entered before the king, and she stood before the king. It's not a lot going on here, I don't think, is there?
Yeah, I mean, there is an interesting observation from, again, BHS, from Lifnei Hamelech. I think in the Septuagint and some manuscript of the Vulgate, it reads lefanav, meaning it omits the king.
Mm,
It just says, and she stood before him.
yes. Okay. And
Hmm.
that's in the Vulgate, you said?
Septuagint, and I think some manuscripts of the Vulgate.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. So, uh,
And it's also like
oh yeah.
Ki'uli. It's also interesting. Ki'uli le Batsheva. You wouldn't really say that in modern Hebrew. You would say Ki'ul le
I,
Batsheva. Like Ki'uli le
yeah.
Batsheva means call to me. Call me to
Cool.
Batsheva. So, if
Yeah.
you read it literally.
It's very, yes. Yes. So it's worth pointing out here too that this is a kiru this is a plural imperative. So David is calling out. He's giving this instruction to his group of attendants. And at this point in the text, we solve the mystery that appeared in verse 22, which shows us that Bathsheba had left the room at some point, either when Nathan entered or after that. So, one other thing here too to note is that Hamelech David, the A positive is missing in the Septuagint as well. It just says Kai Epekrethe David, and much more smoothly. And David answered, not and the king David answered.
Hmm.
All right, verse 29. It's up there, I
Um.
think. Yep.
Yeah, but there is something interesting that David
Oh, sure.
Kimchi says about in I think it was it Kimchi, or he quotes the Talmud Sanhedrin 22a, and I try to find exactly. I think that is it. 22a. Rav Yaakov says that Rabbi Yochanan says Avishag the Shunammite was permitted to Solomon but forbidden to Adoniah, who in fact wanted to marry her. She was permitted to Solomon as he was a king, and a king may use the scepter of a king. Blah blah blah. She was forbidden to Adoniah as he was an ordinary person, not a king. And and she said, and he said
Okay.
that he called her. Oh, so he says basically that he called her to have intercourse with her, or
Yeah.
maybe to inform Abishag what she did not know, um something like that. At least I think that's what he says. But
Okay. So
hmm.
I think that's the drama that plays out in chapter 2, I believe, of Second Kings, or of First Kings after David dies.
Okay.
Um what's his Adonijah. And if you have to understand all of this as well within the ancient Near Eastern power constructs, where so much of um, a ruler's right and authority to rule has to do with his sexual prowess and his virility. So lots of commentators, and I mean, the rabbis are picking this up as well, right? That uh, Adonijah's play for Abishag the Shunammite is a power play. This is you know a sneaky way of attempting to assert his authority um, in after the failed coup attempt. So even though what yeah, you could call this a coup attempt.
Yeah,
So
I should also note that there Kimchi and Ibn Kaspi think that she didn't leave the room. She just drew a bit of distance
oh, Bathsheba.
from. Yeah, but Shiva, yeah,
Oh,
she
okay.
didn't leave the room, but she just
Oh, she
yeah, I went far
stepped
from
into
him
the
whilst
background.
yeah, whilst Nathan spoke with the king.
Okay.
Interesting.
Very respectful, like, right? Maybe
Yeah.
let's do one more,
Okay.
and then we can call it a night.
Sure. So on 29, וישבע המלך ויאמר חי יהובה אשר פדה את נפשי, and let me just read the page, מכל צרה. Yeah, the page ends there, so I had to flip it.
Yeah.
So and this reads, and the king swore, and he said, Chai Yehovah, which means as long as the Lord lives, or like the
Yeah.
Yehovah lives, who redeemed my soul from any distress or from any
Yeah.
trouble. So Chai Adonai is a term that it's like a pledge, if I or like
Yeah.
I think that if I remember correctly, Pharaoh says that as well, or something like this. Chai Pa'o. No. I think Joseph or Moses says Chai Pa'o, something like that. Basically, he uses the
Oh,
Chayo
right.
here.
Back in Genesis 30,
Yeah, Genesis
38,
42.
39.
Yeah, when he
Oh,
says
42. Okay.
Joseph saying to his brothers, when he says Chei Pa'o, if you will get out of it, something like this. So it's like
Right.
a pledge by Pharaoh, by God, or something like this. I think
Yeah.
no, not really a pledge, but like yeah, I think, but he basically pledges, because in the Vaishava it says, as long as the Lord lives, Chai Yehovah alive,
Yeah.
literally.
The literal translation there is life of Adonai or life of Yahweh. So,
Yeah,
which is but the sense there is that that this is a pledge, pretty serious pledge on
yeah.
on,
If you
on the
say,
on the life of
if you evoke the Lord there, then yeah, it is
right.
quite a serious one.
Definitely. I actually don't think I have any notes for this. No, I don't.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither.
So I'll just point out that the verb here, the first verb, vayeshaveh, is
Shava.
this is a shava. Yes, sorry. this is a this is a nifal imperfect, vav consecutive. So the this verb shava, which means to vow, to make a vow, or to swear, only, as far as I know, I believe it only occurs in the nifal, which on its own might be kind of interesting, because this isn't a wooden thing. There's some flexibility here, but by and large, the nifal is a passive form of the verb. So I'm not sure if there's if there's any significance to that, but I think it's interesting. So yeah, I think that's it. 6 o'clock.
Cool.
I should probably go
4
make some
a.m.
dinner.
for me, and I
Yeah,
should
right. You
sleep.
should go to. Are you going to go to bed now?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Oh,
Cool. Well, thank you everyone for joining. I didn't see any super chats. I tried to pay attention, and didn't see a lot of questions either. So, but thanks everyone for joining us this evening. The hope is that in 2 weeks' time, when we do this again, we'll see how this goes over the Christmas season. Josh and I haven't talked about what the holidays are going to look like, but if we come back in 2 weeks' time, the hope is that it'll be Josh and myself. Tomer, thank you very much for being my wingman tonight, and
you're welcome.
for
Be sure to
bringing
check
yeah,
just sponsorship. Be sure to check out Blasphemous Bible, featuring
absolutely.
Karin Ra and me and a lot of other panelists like Isaac and Milwaukee Atheists. and many more. Mark Peralta has joined us. So if you're interested in commentaries about the Bible, I'm the man.
There you are. Yeah, Tomer has tons and tons of comments about the Bible.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna take the just take the opportunity to give people sort of an update about what's going on my channel. So I am I've sort of taken a break from making new content. So there won't be any there unfortunately won't be any new videos in the Dead Sea Scrolls series for a while. I'm going to continue doing this live stream bi-weekly as often as we can manage it. I've got some other things in the works as well. Dr. Josh and my good friend Pat Lowinger and I have something that we're working on that hopefully we can start here in the next couple weeks as well. It's a bit of a surprise, so I'm not spilling the beans about that.
I should note real quick.
Go ahead.
Simone asked where she can find me. You can find me on Discord. I've posted a link to a Milwaukee Atheists Discord, the Discord channel to Milwaukee Atheists. I hope it works for you. You can join. You can talk with me. I'm there whenever you want.
Grandma Foreskin wants me to pronounce hysterical. Hysterical.
Hysterical.
So I did want to say though, the reason I have taken a break from content creation is because I am madly just investing as much of my current free time into finishing up a book that I've been working on for a little while here. I have turned my Israelite religions course available at MVP Courses into a book, and the hope is to get it done here by like March or April. So, but it's literally taking all of my free time just to do it. But I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah, go
Simone
ahead.
says that the link is modded. If you can
Oh,
prove it.
oh, right. If I post it. So do you have, can you shoot, where is my,
I can send the link to you.
yeah, if you can send the link
in the
to
private
me.
chat here. Yeah.
How come I can't find my private chat? Oh, there it is. Okay, good.
Yeah, I just
All right, let me just post this, guys. Did I get that? All right. I'm gonna figure this out eventually. There it is. Awesome.
There we go.
Okay, so
yeah, you had the opens as well from there.
what's
what's
this?
You entered the opens inside the link.
Oh, did I? What is that?
Yeah,
oh,
you did.
opens.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. Okay, let me try that again here. Yeah, let's. How does that look? Is that better?
Yeah, I think that's better.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, good.
I think we're done.
Yeah, we're done. I'm just saying join Aaron Ra's channel. Something like this.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, nice. Cool. I think people are joining very well.
Thank you very much, Tomer, once again. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.